we continue our journey towards understanding multilingualism or bilingualism. And one of the questions that I'm often asked is, what kind of strategies can I use to raise my child bilingually or in a bilingual fashion in an effective way? So today I'm going to explain what kind of strategies people have used without necessarily giving any recommendation, because they're all very much, it depends on how, what your situation at home is like. So the first strategies that I'm going to be talking about is called Opol, and it stands for One Parent, One Language. And that is used in the situation whereby a child is raised simultaneously bilingual from a family where mum and dad, or the people that are at home, they don't speak the same language. So you might have mum that speaks French and dad that speaks English, and they live in Spain, for example. So the approach is that the mum and the dad will refer to the child in their language of the heart, as I call it, so the language that they've been brought up in, and they will be reading the books, they will be speaking to the child, doing everything in that language, and would only respond in that language. So almost pretending that when the child is communicating with them in another language, they are not really understanding it. And if you imagine, normally grandparents are like that. That when you go to see them and maybe the child is starting to speak a language, they've got to understand that maybe grandmama only speaks French, whereas grandma only speaks English, for example. So about 20 years ago, it was considered to be, the most successful strategy. And, what do you do though when you and your partner don't speak the language of each other? Do you continue speaking to your child in front of your partner in a language so then your partner doesn't know what's happening? So that's a big query. Or do you speak to your child in a language that is common to all of you in a different situation? So then that becomes a different strategy called Two Places, Two Languages. So with the Opol, there is a little bit of rigidity that you always and only speak to your child in that language. So when you're outside, when you're in the supermarket, but then again, what do you do when you've got children that don't speak the same language as you and your child? Do you speak to your child in that language and then you look back and you speak to his friends in English? Or that's a very personal choice. Some people have seen that they would speak to the child in their language and then they would translate for the friends, or they would speak to the friends and then reiterate it in that language. So there is no confusion, but also the other people don't feel that you're saying something, rude, and because they don't understand it. So that's one option. So that is called One Parent, One Language.